Hey there, friends. Dana here, otherwise known as Dana Spirit Butterfly. And this is a video, a supportive tool, if you'd like it to be, to cover the next energy cycle. And the energy cycles that I work on as a sacred feminine voice is that of the moon cycles, the lunar cycles. Now, the lunar energy is not the only cycle on the planet. The solar giant too offers us a cyclic reality. It's just based on a 24-hour cycle and a 365-day cycle. The lunar cycle is a little bit more digestible. And so, if you're interested in merging the spirit realms with your own rational, grounded, present life, then attuning to the spirit realms via lunar cycles helps you to ground and anchor your higher wisdom so that you may be in a deeper conversation with yourself and with your soul. Um, I also want to, before I go further, acknowledge that today I'm recording this on Bundjalung country, and I pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging, recognizing that sovereignty wasn't ceded, and that I, an Anglo-Celtic ancestry female, was born on Ghana country, and I'm grateful to call this land my home currently. So, lunar cycles. The last lunar cycle, I have to cover this first. The last lunar cycle was rough for so many. If you had an easy time across the last lunar cycle, then you're either deeply gifted with spirit weaving or you're a bit disconnected from the natural world. The world around us has had chaos in its field, and chaos can be in service when you understand that there is a deeper divine wisdom that moves through us, that offers us an opportunity to go deeper with our own awareness of self and our relationality with others, to be better humans, to be better womans. And so many of us have these ideas of what it means to be a human that continues to perpetuate the old patriarchal ideas. And so many people, as soon as they use the term patriarchy, get triggered. If you're experiencing a trigger when I use that word, firstly, my compassion. I totally understand and appreciate why you would feel a sense of trigger with the term patriarchy. This is our legacy. This is our storylines. This is where our energetics come from in terms of how we navigate our external facing reality and our economic state of wealth and wisdom. We have been in a patriarchal dominant system for quite some time. And patriarchy in itself is not a bad thing, but when it's out of balance, when there's no space to allow the voice of feminine in and through the weave, then we become out of balance. And it's really easy for us to act out in a way that harms and disrupts other people's innate flows and intelligences. Our intelligences are way more than just our abilities to think clearly or otherwise. Our intelligence are way beyond our abilities to build satellites in the sky so that we can keep our finger on the pulse of a particular thing, aka directing our attention towards things that allow us to hide or bypass or ignore other very important factors. And we've seen this across the passage of our civilization with the way that birthing systems support more medical practices. And thankfully, there's a movement now towards acknowledging the needs of mother and the needs of woman and the needs of her emotional state as she gives birth. But we are still denying a fundamental part of this history. And by denying the fact that we have taken the power of birth away from women and mothers generationally for thousands of years, we are unable to recognize that there is a deeper wisdom that can help us with this problem that belongs to women and the feminine. Now, I don't identify as a feminist. You may use that label. I'm just expressing this as a way to bring forwards a conversation that perhaps you have journeyed with in the past, or maybe you're journeying with today. Right now, my spirit conversation as moves through me, very aligned with Rose, because at the moment I'm offering a Rose intelligence, a Rose initiation program, which it's not too late to join if that interests you, please check out my Patreon work. I'll leave a link in the video. But we mention this because at the moment we are right on the edge of a fundamental shift and change towards something that's more innate and natural for us. And in order to do that, we need to go through a process of decay and disruption. And decay and disruption feels like chaos. It feels troubling to the system that needs consistency and constancy. And our minds, particularly in the feminine landscape, do need a certain amount of consistency in order to open up our creative flow. It's not the only way that creativity moves through us, though. Some people are powerfully created when they're upset. Some people create amazing things and get those deep aha moments when they're angry. And it's not to say that you necessarily want to bring more of that energy here, but sometimes there's a gift in the curse. Sometimes when you've given yourself a bit of space to allow what moves through you, what needs to move through you, to move through you, with reverence for its intelligence, even if you don't know what that is right now, if you keep going with it as wisdom, then on the other side is gold. On the other side is often the things we need to create a better world. And so the processing is important. You know, Spirit's reminding me that I've often heard people say to me, Dana, you seem to always be processing. And I'm like, you know what? Processing in itself can and should also involve rest and digest as a process. This is actually a part of the Rose Initiation program to educate you around this particular focus. But processing is actually where life is. We are here to be in life, to navigate our sense feeling, to be in our bodies, and to truly own that which is ours. When you start a process of allowing this voice through, those parts of you that are immature or that are lacking development because either they've been blocked or distorted or constricted or restricted in some early iteration of you, whether or not this be in childhood, via your ancestral DNA conversation, so your ancestors' memories or your own soul's past life memories, these restrictions are there to help you find a deepening of your consciousness. They are not there as simply a block or a mechanism to stop you. They are often an opportunity when you make the switch from these things being devastatingly chaotic and only harmful. You can, at some point, maybe not now while you're experiencing the hardship. The hardship is shit, and I know it is, and I'm really sorry if you're having a hard time right now, because I know that this is what we're all needing as a part of the decay process. It's crap to live through. It absolutely is. But as Spirit's reminding me, this last movement, the cyclone that was in this area, also alongside the two eclipses and the equinox, they were not designed to create more pain. They were asking you to remember some of the pain from your past so that you could gently, reverently remember where you've come from and why it is that you perceive the world as you do here and now today. When you're able to acknowledge that, when you're able to gift yourself with a few moments of space to honor the life that's moved through and the experiences that you've had, on the other side is feeling sense that returns you back to the earth and your availability for the enlivenment, for the juice, for the energy flow that often spiritualists are always talking about. You know, when we talk about giving energy to the earth and pulling it down from the heavens and then ending up in this Kundalini spiral like upward axis, downward axis conversation. This is the bomb. This is the thing. This is the thing that nobody listens to. We're all avoiding this movement, and this movement is life. This is rejuvenation. This will keep you young and vital and available for the voicing that we're all deeply craving. To be seen, heard, and held only comes once you're in this dialogue of self and soul. And so with that, few dates heading forwards, and trust me, Spirit gave me the term before, that this next moon cycle is kind of a bit of a hangover from what we've just moved through. So it's not going to be any worse. We've already gone through the heaviness. The heaviness is not going to stay. In about a month's time, things will feel easeful and you'll already feel more firm. We are actually journeying home. And when I say that, what I mean is that once we go through the decay process, the letting go, the surrendering, the I can't hold this anymore, this is too much for me process. Once we get there, if we allow ourselves to surrender to a higher power, to a bigger picture, to there being people who know more than us, trusting that we don't need to carry it all the time, when you can find your way there, at the bottom is the life force that you're craving, is the healing that you're desiring, and it's the voice that is more potent moving forwards. And so when we say we are journeying home, we are heading home, we're heading back to a deeper part of you that can hold yourself more fully, more presently as you more move forwards. And so this cycle is the hangover period. This cycle is a time for you to relax, practice grounding, being with the earth, being with your body. Please dance and move. Spirit's also asking me to share with you that there's a really beautiful exercise that all good witches should know about, which is basically lighting a candle, sitting with the candlelight. It's a neural trigger for a deeper ancestry when our ancestors used to gather around the fire for safety and for fulfillment, for relational fulfillment. Light the candle. I preference beeswax candles over any other candle, but you do you. Because it's a high grade and the ionization of it is much more soothing on your nervous system. Excuse me. Tuning in to the flame, inviting the flame into your third eye, maybe into your throat, maybe into your heart, maybe into your womb, with the intention to help to move the energy on that lingers, that doesn't need to be there anymore, that might be clouding your judgment or your feeling of safety. And so invite the candlelight in. Let it return you back to hearth and home, a time where things don't look so bleak, where things feel more grounded and present, and the relationships that you need are right there in the same environment as you. So we have a new moon solar, which is also a solar eclipse on the 29th of March. I'm recording this on the 29th of March in the evening. So it's at 9:57 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, daylight saving time, still daylight saving time. It's a new moon in Aries, and Aries is an energy, can be very powerful, very loving, very present, very energetic, but also can be a little bit protective. And the paradigm with protectiveness is that protectiveness can become defensiveness pretty quickly. So Spirit is saying, please peer into a deeper part of you. Get behind the facades, get behind the need to defend and to attack, and to just be present and reverence with that part of you that goes, actually, I feel all these denser feelings, but there's also something behind that that's helping me with my problem. And so instead of staying in the outer layers, maybe I'm going to peer in a bit deeper and inquire, use my curiosity muscle to figure out what else is going on there. We also have an end to the Mercury retrograde on the 6th of April. So that's, in about a week's time. The Mercury retrograde, Spirit is reminding me, it impacts some people and it doesn't impact some people. But generally it will delay things. It will complicate things, and it will lead to miscommunication and electronic issues. So things do start to get a bit crazy during the Mercury retrograde, and progressively, slowly from the 6th of April, the things are going to get more clear and more easeful for you. But they're also reminding me that we're in a Venus retrograde, I think, until mid-April. So there's still conversations moving through us in relation to love, Venus being the ruler of love, and also Venus, because love is all things, also talks about the home and feeling good in your body. So there's still a little bit of journey work with the body, feeling safe and well. Drink lots of water across this period of time. Good quality filtered water, very important, will help with the mental clarity for you. The full moon is in Libra, and by the full moon in Libra, you will get a sense of things feeling like they're righting themselves again. Libran energy is very good for balance. It's also about fairness. And the full moon, this full moon particularly, is going to feel like a breath of fresh air in relation to what's just happened. So the full moon, of course, still comes with it some agitation in the fields, people who aren't good at planning and aren't good at honoring their own basic energy needs tend to feel unstable around the full moon. So it's the best time for you to maybe plug offline or plug off online and to get your feet on the sand or the earth and to just come back to earth and do basic fundamental self-care across full moon periods. Spirit saying to me, have yourself a bath, dare to spend some time on the 13th of April on yourself, please. We're heading into the end of the cycle will be a new moon in Taurus, and Taurus is, you know, very earthy, very grounded, very practical, and often for me it's home and hearth. And so that's at the end of April, which also coincides with Samhain here on the Celtic calendar in the Southern Hemisphere, and Beltaine in the Northern Hemisphere. And so we're not going to go too far into that, but at the end of the month, I am going to offer some training, some psychic landscape training for you. You might be interested in that. I'm going to run 2 workshops, one on Saturday and one on Sunday, just half days here in the Northern Rivers at the end of April. They are about, we're calling them animistic you, and it's about you reclaiming your connection, your psychic landscape, and opening up a sense of play with it. Psychic landscapes are amazing to dialogue with. They can trigger some people once they start to move the energy of it, returning back to these fundamental, very human skill sets. They are a part of our innate gifts and our nature, but often over generations, we've been shamed and blamed and controlled and all of the things. So sometimes when we start to work with psychic landscapes, some of that energy of doubt comes in and starts to unravel some of your feeling of sense and safety. But when explored in a held container with someone with experience, you can discover a lot more about yourself in these workshops. And so that's my gift to this land, because I do believe that when you live on a land, your responsibility is to contribute by participating in whatever language you offer that to your community. Of course, I have my online communities. So as we slowly wrap up this video, a reminder, Rose initiation started. You pretty much have, you know, you can keep joining up until next week. We'll have our first online gathering either at the end of next week or early the week after. So you've got until then to sign up. It is open to men and women in the initiation phase. Rose loves working with both of us, but the focus is on sacred feminine voicing and a return to innate balance. The work will open up what I call your spidey senses, which of course are your psychic skill sets. But if you want to focus specifically on psychic skill sets, I'll also have another cycle of the Claire's foundational psychic senses in May. So we have more work to offer you. I use the term work, not work. For me, it's not really work. I really love giving it to people because I feel like these are us returning back to the earth and returning back to our wisdom, that which has been taken from us, you might say, generationally for so long, that keeps us in cycles of greed and grief that don't belong to us ultimately. When you tune into self and soul a little bit more fully, you can start to better discern when people are just not legit, when situations and circumstances offered you are a little bit contrived and perhaps not in service to you ultimately. And so if you want better relationships, and if you want a better relationship with yourself and, you know, money and all of the things, then these are the conversations that are useful, necessary, needed here to unlock a deeper wisdom and a better you. You know, I mean, you're already pretty good, right? You might not feel it, but And you start to dialogue with these things, you start to see yourself through new lenses and thus represent yourself more fully to the benefit and great service of the planet. And that's where we need you to be. That's where we need all of us to be. So with that, I send you off with kisses. I hope that this video has supported you and can land somewhere within your sense feeling. I look forward to meeting you if I haven't read for you already, or if you haven't been in any of my containers. And yeah, I hope to see you soon. Sending you much love from the Northern Rivers. Bye, friends. See you.